Alright everybody, this is Eric here. We got the 2009 Pontiac G5. We're going to do an oil change. So the first thing that I've done, I took the oil cap off and then I removed the cover, which is right there. I removed that off, put my oil cap back on, and the tools you're going to need for this is it's all going to be 3/8 drive. You're going to need an extension rod, 3/8 drive to fit a 3/8 ratchet. You're going to need an 1.25 inch socket for your oil cap right here, your oil filter cap, that is. You don't want to use a regular, like anything other than a socket, because if you do, I've seen it to where in the past these corners will get rounded out, and then there's little holes that for some reason will just happen to just go all the way through, and you'll see these little pinholes just shooting out oil through the oil filter cap. I've actually seen it. So always use a socket. It's an 1.25 inch socket, an extension rod, you know, that's 3/8. I just got that ready because what I've done, I went under here. You're going to use a 15mm socket to drain your oil. Your oil pan is right here, and then as you see where this oil is coming out, that is where your oil drain plug is. You know, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Sometimes if you can't get it off with your ratchet, you might have to put some kind of bar, a longer bar inside this, kind of give you more extension, to give you more leverage to turn it. You always want to tighten these by hand. Some guys use the power drills, the impacts, to really get them on there, and that, I hate that, because then it's almost impossible without a bar to get your oil plug off. But it takes about 5 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer, to drain your oil. You're going to want to use gloves when you're doing this, because you're going to get dirty if not. And if you're been using your car, earlier, and your motor's a little warm, your oil is going to be hot, so be mindful of that. If you haven't changed your or you haven't ran your car, change your oil when it's cold, when your motor's cold. That way you can just not worry about the temperature. You can just go right at it like I'm doing here. And once we get this oil, when it starts just barely drip drip drip, that's when you can put the oil plug back on, and then we'll go up top with the socket and we'll remove the oil filter cap with the socket. Okay, and as you can see, we got the little drip 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 going here. What I always like to do, just like to take a little rag, wipe that little area back off, see how we're going. It's not too much more coming out. About another minute probably, and it'll be ready to put the plug back on. But for me, that's not terrible. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna go ahead and put my plug back on. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. That's why you need to wear gloves. But like I said, I don't care. I'm getting ready to take a shower after this, so it's just at the end of the day. I'm changing the oil here. So we'll tighten this back up. Like I said, it's a 15mm socket for this oil drain plug. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, and we're just gonna tighten that puppy. You don't have to do it too tight. Just enough like that. And that's it with our drain plug. So we're gonna get our socket back out. I'm gonna get our oil pan out of the way, because once we roll this baby out from these ramps, we don't want this underneath there getting smashed or anything. So we'll get this puppy out of the way, put the lid back on it, and we're always going to recycle this oil. You can take it to AutoZone and tell the guys, hey, I like to recycle the oil. It's good for the environment. They'll recycle it for free, no charge. All right, so now with our oil filter, we're going to need this oil filter here. You can get it again at AutoZone. That's the part number. It's good for 5,000 miles. So you want to change your oil every 5,000 miles. The G9 takes 5W30 motor oil. I'm using high mileage here because, you know, I'm over 75,000 miles. This particular G5 has 141,000 miles on it. So that's what you're going to need oil wise. Like I said, everything's 3/8 drive. And what 3/8 drive means is that's 3/8. That means this particular socket wrench requires sockets that are 3/8 because they fit onto that. So everything that I'm using is 3/8, fits perfectly. And to do this oil filter cap, we just simply righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. We're going left to loosen it. So let me put this down here. Reposition this actually so you can see what this is going to look like. So I'm just going to take my socket, left, left, left. You don't have to worry about any oil shooting up. You don't have to worry about anything leaking. You're just going to keep loosening, 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 loosening. And now that's off, you'll see that your cap's going to be sitting in there just all ready to come out. And you'll see the oil filter, you know, just see, I'll just put this on this oil rag right here. So to get this off, they just twist on and off. Set this down here. Again, it's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Grab this oil filter. So it's the same thing. To get this on, you're going to screw it on, twist it on right. Might be a little tricky just to get it going at first, but after you get it on, it shouldn't be that difficult of a problem. Alright, so once you get it on, it shouldn't come out. It should just stay in there. And we're just going to simply put this baby back in. We're going to screw it in by hand a little bit. Just keep going by hand here. Then we'll bust our socket back on. You know, make sure we go righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Same thing with this oil filter cap. You don't have to tighten this crazy tight like Superman tight. You just want to get it to where it's snug, you know, and a little quarter turn after that. So little quarter turn, you're on there pretty good. Oil cap's back on, or the oil filter cap, I mean. It's back on. We can just wipe this area down where I pulled the old oil filter out. So we got everything done. This right now would be a good time to inspect anything else. Check your other fluids, how they looking. Are they looking low? They looking high? They about normal? Just need some windshield washer fluid, looks like. Everything looks good. You can wipe your air filter boxes off. This is where air filter is, by the way. You can wipe your air filter box, or swipe it down or whatever. Once you're satisfied with everything else, we're going to put in our oil. We're going to take off the oil filter cap. We're going to set that somewhere safe so we don't have to worry about it getting lost. And you're going to use all 5 gallons of this baby to pour in. Be careful how you're pouring this in. You can use an oil filter if you want, or you can just go straight in if you're nice and steady, got a steady hand like me. So we're just going to pour all of it in. It's all 5 gallons. So it's going, it's going, it's going. It's going, 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 going. All 5 gallons. You know, usually oil job takes about 10 minutes. You can see we're at 9:24. I've paused it here a bit or two. You know, doing a video, it's taking me a little bit normal than a 10-minute oil change. See, there I go talking. I'm about to wipe that down. But yeah, if you do anything like that where I just spilled some of the oil, always wipe it off. You don't want a fire to happen. You don't want this oil to get hot you know, on your block here. Just make sure you take your time. You know, normally you can use an oil funnel to put in there to prevent what I just did. But hey, maybe it's a good thing I did it so you guys can see what happens without an oil funnel. To be honest, I didn't want to go get mine. Had to walk all the way out there to where I keep all my other tools. It's being lazy. So I'm going to wipe all this stuff down. Make sure all this is good and ready to go. Don't want any excess oil here. You know, if you missed a drop or two, that won't be terrible. It'll burn itself off. But like I said, you don't want a lot on there because you don't want to risk a fire happening. All right, get all this down here. So now we're looking good. We're looking clean. I don't see any excess oil down here. Just like I said, I'm just taking my time here to clean this because we want to make sure this is all going to come out. All right, wiping all this oil off. For some reason I got some oil down there. I can't get my finger, so I'm gonna use this extension bar here. Smash this rag down in there to get some of that oil that my finger can't reach down and get. Alright, let's pull this out. We're clean again. Okay, so now we're going to put our oil filter on, or oil cap on. And we're going to start the car up. We're going to take it off the ramps here. We're going to put it in reverse, release the emergency brake, and we're just going to check for leaks.